My C high performance sweatshirt's very dirty. What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for stopping by. Real quick, if you don't mind hitting a like on this video, possibly subscribe to the channel if you are brand new here. If you are brand new here, welcome. We talk about karts and parts and all sorts of things, products. Last week I did a review on some Star Pro products. If you caught that video, pretty cool. And I'm finally back out in the shop. It is warm enough here in New York to do some descriptive stuff in preparation of the season. So away we go with that. I, over the winter, got, whoa, getting ahead of myself. Kart 6T3 is brought to you by Track Tack Tire Treatments, treatments for tires and tracks, Burris Racing Tires, Burris Racing USA, and BeardOctane.com. Get yourself some nice stuff for your beard. Make yourself smell and look amazing. So, all right, back to where I was at. Can't be leaving out the channel sponsors. That would be a horrible idea. So, over the winter, I was able to purchase some Phantom Racing products. They have packages for front-end bearing and in bearings in general. I already put the rear axle bearings. I think I've already done a video on that. I hadn't done bearing replacement on spindles, hubs, and such. So I kind of didn't, I got a little ahead of myself. I did the rear axle bearings. I did do a short on that, just watching them spin. Anyway, today we are going to go over replacing the bearings in spindles, where the bearings in the hubs, and we are going to go ahead and change the Heim ends on our tie rods. Okay, why make this video, Ben? Well, because this should be done way more often than I do it. I'm one of those person who do as I say, don't do as I do. I am notorious bad at replacing bearings and stuff like that. I am a Saturday night racer. I get every dollar out of every item I ever own. Is this the best way? No. Is it the fastest way? Also, no. But it is the reality of the situation. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in this predicament. I'm not the only one who cannot go ahead and afford brand new spindles and brand new bearings every 2 to 3 races, every race, all that, what some of the elite drivers are able to do. And it's perfectly fine. It takes a whole lot of us to make up the sport. Not everybody can be on point at all times. Most Saturday night racers, we get our use out of stuff. We also have a tendency to, take care of our stuff. We clean our stuff. We do all we can to get the most life out of our bearings and such. But the bearings in the Recon, if you don't know, I have a 2017 Phantom Racing Chassis, Recon chassis that I have just cleaned up. I didn't have it powder coated, but I do work at a body shop, so a fresh coat of paint, got it looking all spiffy, some new body work, but it was in desperate need of some bearings. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive up close. I'm going to show you probably some struggles along with, what it's like in order to change the bearings in something like a Phantom Racing chassis. Now, first and foremost, your hubs, your spindles may not be the same. They may not be identical, but use it as not as a blueprint, but as a guide to what you should be looking for, what you're going to want to do. Like, for instance, I have 2 sets of hubs here. You'll see that in the close-ups. I have the Phantom Racing Chassis hubs, which need the bearings. Those hubs are actually going to go on my Phantom Scythe, which is my UAS, my open kart engine, kart. And then the 5.3 titanium ones, which are actually aluminum hubs with titanium nuts and bolts on them, they are going to go on the Recon, which is my clone kart. So just they're 2 different setups, 2 different ways. One has some retaining clips, the other does not. But you'll see that as we get dove down here. So why don't we get enough of me yammering here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just give some of you new people a little idea of what you're looking at, what you're going to want to do when you're replacing these bearings. Okay, we are now dove down here, and I'm going to do things in sections here, I guess, or not. We'll see how it is. What we have here is we have a right front spindle. Here's the L block. Everything dirty from last year. Bearings definitely feel like they need to be replaced. You know, the left just the same, a little freer, that's okay. What we have to replace are the actual bearings inside the spindles. Also, the upper heim here, and then stuff's falling over there, that's okay. We have the bearings to replace in the hubs, even though you'll see here in screen, just checking to make sure, we do have these excellent 5.3 titanium. These are aluminum hubs with titanium hardware, courtesy of 5.3 titanium. Those are actually going to go on the Kart. These are standard Phantom press-in hubs that we're replacing. Now, as I stated before, your setup might be a little different from Phantoms. That's okay. In general, they are the same. Like 5.3 titanium, these do not have any kind of circlips. They don't have any retainers in them. So these bearings just kind of come in and out. And obviously, the bolts and nuts on a spindle like this would hold them true. It would hold them together. No, they spin nice and free, good stuff, but Phantom chooses to use these retainers to keep the bearings inside the hubs. Either design is perfectly fine. I've run either for years, but what I thought I'd do is show you what it's like in order to remove these. So, I guess we'll start with the hubs first. Why not? What I do have off camera here, I may make a pause session. I cannot fit the spindles inside my brand new ultrasonic cleaner. It is a little small for that, so I'm just going to be using some parts cleaner. I think I got this when I changed my son's brakes. This came in the kit, so I'm going to use some brake parts cleaner. I'm just going to clean stuff up, probably scuff them up and this and that. I'll show you, but some things I might put in the ultrasonic cleaner, like the hubs, just to get the nooks and crannies clean before I put the brand new bearings in. So let's get started here, shall we? We're going to take these are a little old and used, but these are some Mac snap ring pliers. Probably need them to be opposite, don't I? So if you've never done this before, if you change over the orientation, it allows you to either squeeze or whatever, and then I'll do this about 1 billion times because the ends are worn almost completely off these things. I've ground them and everything else. And I'm either going to speed up this footage,
or we're going to get something like a screwdriver over here. Really could use a new set of snap ring pliers, but I've stated in the past I am pretty frugal when it comes to things. Make do
with what I got. So, yes, there we go. Very good, Ben. Good job, buddy. All right, get that going out of there. And basically, you should be able to tap on the other side. The bearings are going to butt up against this ridge. Removing that retainer, that snap ring, is going to allow that to come free. Now, one thing like old front bearing or front hubs had that I noticed, they didn't have a center section like this. It's just a tube that goes over. This is 5/8, so this is for the left front. The other one is going to be tapered because it goes from 5/8 to 3/4 on the right front. But this allows the bearings not to cinch down and get completely, if there's nothing to stop them from going together, it just allows for the center to continue all the way through, so you can't press the bearings and bind them up. So I'm going to break down the other one here. So for the front hub, we'll set those to the side. We're going to do the same frustrating thing over here. Okay, after the last set frustrated me, the max set that is clearly not designed for this, and I have whittled away here, I did go and I found my Huskies. Now, same thing, they've been worn away, but they should do the job a little better. Again, we're going to change the orientation here so they do what I need them to do. Okay, we finally got it. What a frustrating thing to have happen on film. Woo! Got it. Everybody calm down, I found it. All right. Oh, same thing, different story. Okay, you'll notice on a right front, your standard right front, as I mentioned before, is going to have a 5/8 on the outside, a 3/4 on the inside. This is to help with load. It's just the way they design carts now and the bearings. But again, just going to tap on the outside. Things like this are going to pop out. You're going to have your hollow hub left there. This, as you can see, make sure I'm getting this in the shot plainly. This actually goes from 5/8 out to 3/4 to allow for this. If you slip this on here, that allows that to happen. If you use it the opposite way, obviously that does not work. But that, again, to keep those bearings from mushing together, the spacer does wonders. So set those aside. What we're going to do is we're going to pop these in the ultrasonic cleaner for a little bit, get them nice and fresh. All right, we are back. Let's check my microphone. My microphone's still working. That's a good thing. Okay, we are back. Just a little cleanup. These things, I ran these things through the ultrasonic cleaner real quick. Now I'm going to do this. This isn't necessary, or some people might disagree with me. That's fine, no problem. But a little grease, just a little protectant. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just, I think, a little extra grease here and there to keep anything from, wearing too awfully bad. It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to build up a lot. I just like to get a nice coat. It also helps the bearings slide in. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not going crazy. I happen to do this on a lot of stuff. I don't know. Call me old school if you want. Some people are going to disagree that, hey, these things are tightly formed. It doesn't need it. And I've heard it all. It's fine. I've been lubricating stuff for years without issue. So there you go. Maybe I just don't know any better. Anyway, so what we have here we have our left front and our right front bearings. Again, now the ones that you're going to have to really pay attention to is going to be your right front, because first off, the outside bearing obviously has got to be the 5/8. So you're going to go ahead and drop the 5/8 there, not get it square the first time because we are on camera, and why would we? Now, I had a really cool tool at one point in time for setting bearings. I don't anymore. I just have a tendency, I just use a nice plastic screwdriver. Knock your bearing there. Now, this is something that you're going to have to pay attention to when you're reinserting. If your front hub happens to have a tapered spacer in there, which end is 5/8, which end is 3/4. Obviously, 5/8 is going to go towards the outside. There you go. Take your 3/4 bearing and then very gently tap your new bearing into your hub. Voila. Now you're going to take your retainer clip here, take your safety pliers, and hopefully they go on a lot better than they came off, because we all know the struggle with these. And they sure as heck go on a lot better. There is your right front. Now, same thing, different story. Oh, you're going to want to put the 5/8 in. Tap-a-tap-a-tap-a-roo. Drop in your 5/8. Doesn't matter the orientation of that because it is 5/8 straight through. Put your outside bearing in. Tap, tap, tap. Snap ring plier. Snap ring. And get it. I say these Huskies work a little better than the Mac ones, but also these are worn out too and have had the ends sharpened. Anyway, there we go. So, like I said, matter of fact, these are, I won't say these aren't going to get used. These are going to get used. These are probably going to go on the open. I'm going to be using the 5.3 titanium hubs on the Recon, so I'm actually rebuilding those to go on the open cart, to go on the Scythe. So, I do have the Heims to be replaced over there. But not yet. Right now, we are going to tackle the spindles. Okay, now, spindle would be on there. We have what attaches here. It'd be a 1/2 inch bolt that goes on the bottom. This is 3/4 at the top. You're going to undo these. Obviously, you're going to undo your hyme ends for your steering. Get those off. This comes off as a chunk. You are going to want to remove the safety clip. These, of course, are going to be tight. They should be tight at least. We're going to get a couple 3/4 off screen. These, I believe my kingpins got replaced beginning of last year. So, boy, I really tightened them on there last time, didn't I? Nothing goes right on camera. Okay. There we go. Loosened up. I already loosened up this one, but I wanted to show you guys taking off that. So, go ahead, remove your castle nut here. Remove some spacers. You're going to draw out your kingpin. Set that off to the side. Then you're going to have a whole bunch of washers to take up and set, you know, what you set your cross with. Set all these guys off to the side. Now, this is a specific spacer. Just going to clean this guy up. This sits at the bottom of your L block. So you have this bearing down here in the L block. This one gives you the distance. This is, you should go no further than this when you're dropping a spindle. So if you're putting this, if this is your right front, this came off the right front spindle, this is as far down as you're going to be allowed to go down with your spindle to bottom it out. If you go any further than this spacer right here, this washer right here, this is now going to cause this to hit on your L block. You don't want to do that. So this is a specialty one. Don't lose that one. That's it. The other ones are just are 3/8 washers. No big different thickness and thinness. Now I could put this in the washer if I wanted to. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna come off screen here. I'm gonna clean it up real quick with some brake clean, and then we'll get back to getting. Just give her a little nice wipe down there. We can put some grease in there if we want, but what we're gonna do is we're probably just gonna put some fresh grease on that when we slide that back up in. So we're gonna set that to the side. Could probably just go ahead and hang these back up so they're out of my way. All right, now for the spindle. These things have been a bugger in the past to me. We're gonna work through it together, and hopefully I can get them changed out. Okay. So I was trying to figure out the best way to show you guys how I do this. This is your spindle. Obviously, these are 3/8 bearings in here. There's a spacer the same as in your hubs in between here. Now we're gonna use this as a way to get this bearing out of here. So normally, you know, obviously your kingpin goes directly through here. That's what you want it to do. What I do is I kick the spacer to the side so it actually interrupts the path here. See how that's in the way there? This, you know, if you were to try and drive your kingpin down through there, that is not going to work. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my kingpin. I'm going to put it here, and that's going to interrupt its ability to go through. What that's going to do is put pressure on the other bearing. And we're going to tap, tap, tap until, oh, slid out. Let's try that again. This is a trial and error process. You see? See, as I'm driving on that spacer, it is wanting to take out the other bearing. It's just a kind of a tedious process. Sometimes the kingpin tries to slide by it. And boop, out we go. Okay. There's our bearing. There's our spacer. And then when you come over this side, you can use, you know, a screwdriver or whatever it is, or the kingpin again if you want, but I would suggest not hitting on the thread side of a kingpin. So I just, again, a cheap screwdriver, something that fits through, is going to be your best bet. It's going to cause as little damage as possible. So now your bearings are out. you're going to go ahead and get your fresh bearings. We're going to set those to the side, and then your spacer. What I'm going to do, again, I'm going to clean this up and get it ready for the new bearings. Okay, just a quick cleanup, just getting any extra residue or anything like that off now. Now, same thing as before, same thing with the hubs. This probably, judging by some of the, obviously some of the rust deposits in here. I mean, it's not bad or anything like that. I'm not pointing out anything bad, but again, it's just not a bad idea. Put a little layer of grease on there. Just add a little protection, keep it from rusting. You know, just if you're like me, you have a tendency to run these things way more than you should. I know better. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay, so same thing as kind of the hubs. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, this is where my tool would really come in. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can't find that thing. Okay, I did find it. Bearing setting tool. I mean, it's nothing, there's nothing special about it. It just helps me out. So, flat surface. Okay, you just go easy with this. You don't want to get sideways with it. You can tap on it with a hammer. Just be very careful that the races and stuff like that, you're not going to want to try and do it with a flat surface. I don't know what tools you have in your repertoire in order to do this. Don't forget your spacer, brand new bearing. We're going to go ahead and slide that into. The biggest thing is try and get this as square as possible to start. If you're going to do it with a hammer, I don't like it. You can also, much like I did with the other things, you can go ahead and use a plastic screwdriver or something like this. I just happen to have this tool. I think it makes it nice. I can go easy. It's a little softer metal than the bearing, so it's not going to hurt anything. But there we go. Nice and easy, nice and simple bearing replacement in a spindle. So now that you've done that, I'm going to take a little lubricant, little that red grease. I'm going to put that through there. Bearing or our kingpin. Slide a little on there. It just, I just think it helps. I do think it helps. We're going to put some of that on there. Now, for our upper heim, it's really, really simple. Obviously, you took it out. Got these brand new ones from Phantom. Getting be quite the cluster here, aren't we, gentlemen? Okay, let's put this whole thing back together. We have the upper heim. And we have I believe, that one. That's the brand new safety pin. That go to the inside there. So, assembling. Keep in mind, when we go ahead, you're going to see me struggle with this, because everybody does. Sometimes you struggle with this at track. The spacer we spoke about before that you need in there, inside the spindle, that's probably going to give you a hard time. So, right front, we're also going to remember the spacer. But, it goes the heim, bolt to the inside, washer. All else fails, only take apart one side at a time. This also pertains to doing brakes on your car. Therefore, you have a reference point for the other side. What we're going to do is we're just going to throw the other washer on, and we're going to go ahead and put the castle nut on just to hold it there so it doesn't go anywhere. But special washer, I spoke before. The spacer goes at the bottom. Allows you not to bottom out your spindle. You're going to go ahead and slide that through. Now, you can, however many you counted, while taking it apart, if you want your cross to be the same, go ahead and put that same amount of washers there. But I'm going to assume that I had a little bit of cross in this thing. We're going to take our spindle. We're going to think, all right, this is the right front. So back here is where your steering rod's going to be and your heims to pull this. So just so you don't get it backwards and put it this way and think, oh, that's a lot of camber. Don't do that. As always, pay attention how you took stuff apart. But this spacer in here, that's going to be, fight you a little bit, I'm sure. Just stick a screwdriver or whatever you got to do to get that thing to line back up. They fight with me at track, so there's no doubt in my mind that it was going to fight with me during this. Slide that through. Most of us have changed cross before. Go ahead and put the extra washers back on there. Oh, sorry guys. Honestly, I'm a little more comfortable doing it on the cart because I know where everything goes. All right, slide that back through, kingpin back through. Your top washer, put that back on, castle nut. And you can, if you're going to scale, obviously you have all this stuff apart. You're going to scale. You can leave your safety pin out and all that because this has to go back on the cart. But there's that. If you wanted to, see if I got my 3/4 spacer here. If you wanted to see what it looked like with a hub back on it, we can do that. Put that on there. Wrong washer, or wrong spacer. So that one. That would got some brand new castle nuts for the. There we go. Rinse and repeat. Do this thing on the left front. Maybe I will just speed up some footage of me doing the other one. Oh, we put the 5.3 titanium one on there real quick just to see what that looks like. So these things are rad. And you might need a little longer spacer on the outside there, but those things pretty awesome. Okay, now that we have done all those, I've already finished one of the tie rod ends. We got the heims on either end. What you need to know about heim ends is that when they're using this capacity on a cart, you are going to have a right hand and left hand thread. So It's real easy to tell which way they go because they will not go on the way that you don't want them to. Okay, this is a standard thread. So this is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. It would be the other one would be a left-hand thread, I do believe is what it's called. You just, obviously I did this off camera because sometimes these things are a bugger. These are aluminum for the most part, usually aluminum, and these things usually are steel. So sometimes they do not like to come apart. You're going to go ahead and make sure your washer gets on there. Of course I drop it. Make sure your washer gets on there, and we're taking a guess. Yeah, I think that's the left-hand thread. So we're going to come over to this one. We're going to undo this. Geez. Of course, it's a little tight. Go ahead and do that. We're going to unscrew this. A little lubrication. We're going to put a little on there. You can put a little on your threads. Make sure they don't get bound up. Aluminum and steel don't always get along. So we're going to take this. We're going to figure out which way. This, of course, I grabbed it the wrong way. And is that that? It's always fun trying to figure out which way these things go. Oh, there we go. All right. Got one thread in that way. Same thing with this. Never hurts to put a little grease on things. And then this should twist in and start to thread in your left-hand thread. Obviously, you see, this isn't a mirrored projection, but this is a left-hand thread. So this is lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. I think I said that right. Yep. And here is your standard thread. This would be a right-handed thread. So super simple, super easy to replace hyme ends. The biggest problem that you may have is actually getting these loose. If you don't know how that's done, we'll show you real quick. On every one of these, it's either going to be 9/16, 14 if you got them. I happen to have two 9/16, and it will this allows you to hold it in place when you're setting your toe, and then go ahead and you can loosen and tighten this. Jam nut keeps it from going anywhere. Real basic setup. Okay, hopefully the footage turns out okay. I won't know until post-production. That's the thing about it is I go ahead and I'll either, shoot all the footage like I did today of me actually doing the task at hand, and then I'll shoot the intro to the video, and then right now I'm shooting the outro. So a little behind the scenes magic of how these YouTube videos sometimes come together. Sometimes I do that. I'll do the intro. I'll go ahead and I'll film what I gotta film not off camera, but in up close and in this part and that part, and then I'll come back and I'll do that. But not always. Sometimes I go ahead and just shoot what I need to shoot. Showing what I need to show, and then do the intro, do the outro, and here we are. So I really hope this helps some of you new people know that it's not that hard. It's fine if you have the money to go ahead and pay somebody, or you have somebody over to help you change these bearings and these hyme ends. I think it is unnecessary. It is really a good idea to know your cart in and out. It is a really good idea to know how to replace these things. Like, it's great that if you have some kid or some guy that's a terrific wheelman, but they have no idea how to turn a wrench, I think that it makes you respect the equipment a little better. It also makes you understand the equipment a little better when you can actually put hands on things. You can make adjustments. You can, you know, change cross and change a bearing, change a hymen, know the way these things function in order for you to kind of, you know, embrace all that is racing, not just the, you know, get behind the seat and yeah, I can really wheel this thing. That's fantastic. I think it's even better that if you know how to work on your own equipment, that's, you know, honestly what it comes down to it. I was that wheelman. My dad got me into racing over 20 years ago. I had no idea what I was doing. You know, famously it said, you know, what's it doing? And I went like this. And he's like, I don't know how to adjust for that because I didn't understand what it was doing. Once he left to go to Florida, it forced me to learn my kart, to learn these things, to learn to change chains, to learn to change bearings, hymens, all these things, learn to scale my own things. I had to absorb all this knowledge and I embrace it. And I think I became a better racer because of those facts. So, you know, not that I wanted my dad to move, you know, 18 hours away, 1,200 miles away, but also it forced me to learn these things. And I think that if you are a new racer and you're here watching this video and you're just like, why would I need to know this stuff? It's better to know this stuff. It will help understand why things are going sideways. Maybe you have a bad bearing. Maybe your kart isn't handling that well and you go over and start shaking on a hub and like, oh, what does that do to your cross? You know, you spent the time to have the thing weighed or, you know, to have it scaled and everything, but your cross was all over the place and you couldn't understand, did you have a bad bearing? Do they need replacing? Now you have a video you can go back and reference. Hey, I know how to replace those bearings in my spindles. I know how to replace those bearings in the hubs. I know how to replace the hymen ends on my steering component. So there you go. You know, that's kind of what we do on this channel. And for all of you who already know how to do this, but you stood and you just listened to me and watched the video anyway, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you. Every single time you watch these videos, I see the views. I know that these are repeat customers, people that keep coming back to support me, and I can't say thank you enough for supporting me in that light. So, all right, Kart 6T3 is brought to you by Track Tag Tire Treatments, Burris Racing Tires, and BeardOctane.com. I say BeardOctane.com just because I want you to know the website. It's actually the company's Beard Octane, and Beard Octane Racing is the. It's not actually a company. It's just what I created to put on the kart. But this year, it's not Beard Octane. It's just Beard Octane. Sweet rap. Just, I don't know if you caught that or not. Sweet rap done by these guys right here. G-Kart Graphics. I'm super pumped out. I actually put graphics cards on my kart this year. Just because, you know, I did the graphics last year. They came out all right. It's just Beard Octane Racing. They're great. But the graphics came out super. Graphics card went on the kart. Let's see. Let's keep them nice for as long as possible. So, all right, guys, you've heard me wander on and yammer enough about all this stuff. So we will see you again Thursday. We do a live stream every week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get together. You can come in, ask me questions. We can bench race. We can talk all sorts of stuff. You can kind of pick my brain. I can talk about stories, things I have been through in over 20 years of racing. You know, I got lots of those. I got lots of opinions and lots of things to chit chat about. So if you didn't mind swinging by 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Kart 633, that would be great. And then another video will be coming your way next Sunday. So till then, later.